Hey guys, it's John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's a privilege and pleasure to be with you guys once again. And if you're new here, well, you'll notice a QR code at the top hand corner of the screen. Why not take your smartphone, point over the QR code like so, touch the yellow lips, you'll get my link tree just as easy as that. If you're not watching and you're only listening, then go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And if you guys are wondering, but before I do tell you that, I want to thank you for being here, whether you're here at 8:20 at night, 8:20 in the morning, 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 12 noon, 12 midnight, whatever it is, I really appreciate it. But what do I do? Everyone always asks me. Well, I help people tell a story that leads to them growing a more profitable and scalable business. I typically work with companies that do 4, 10 million or more, and that understand that their story is so valuable and priceless to get out to the world because it is that will get them to connect and get others to want to do business with them. All right, guys, so we're going to get on to the master topic here. Our master topic for today is, everyone, you ready? Understanding the 7%, 38%, 55% rule. Series 2 means when the second year, show 37, episode number 4, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so what are we talking about? Well, for those of you that are just kind of tuning in at the brink here and not really sure what we're doing, we're talking about the rule, the communication rule. So 7% of our communication comes from the words that we select to use. 38% comes from the tonality, how we choose to say that, okay? And 55% comes from what we don't say, our nonverbal communication. And what we have learned, okay, very, very priceless, ladies and gentlemen, is that a well-known psychology professor, Albert Mehrabian, has said that the nonverbal does not always dominate, and that it's only valid when there's a conflict between communication methods. This is very, very important. So when there's a conflict between one or more, then you're not really saying what we think you're saying. All right, so let's get into the part that's relative with tonight. And so I want to talk about bounded rationality. So this is the idea that rationality is limited when individuals make decisions, and under these limitations, rational individuals will select a decision that is satisfactory rather than optimal. Let me give you an example. You might have heard the adage, they're just band-aiding with that fix. They're not really solving the problem. Maybe, I don't know, let's say there is a leak, like in your garden hose, and you decide that you're just going to go ahead and put some tape around it. But that's only band-aiding the problem because the tape you have isn't really great tape, and it's going to fall apart, and it's not going to do well with the water after a while and the heat. So why don't we just either cut that part of the hose off and put a new end on, or why don't we just get a new hose? Because if we band-aid the solution, we're never going to get anywhere, and people are going to become extremely frustrated with us. I know we're going to become frustrated with ourselves. I think that's probably a big thing. And why? It's simple. Greatness. Greatness to be the best, to be all that we can be. So when we think about bounded rationality, again, it's the idea that rationality is limited when individuals make decisions, and under these limitations, these rational, same individuals select a decision that's satisfactory but not optimal. Let's take another example. Maybe you are in a class and you want to pass a test. So the rational mind says, okay, let's cram for the tests. Now, it might be satisfactory for some so they can pass the test, but it's not optimal. Because as soon as that test is over, I guarantee you 98 or 99% of all the information you studied is going to go right out of your head. So why not actually apply yourself and learn the information and not cheat yourself? Because you're really cheating yourself. Because you're the one that's not going to get the information later on in life. You'd be like, oh, why didn't I just take the time to learn that? Herbert Simon was a political scientist and interested in decision making in the real world. Came up with the Duuning-Kruger Effect, where cognitive basis is where people that have a low ability in a task overestimate their ability to perform a task. So let's say, I don't know, you are, let's say you're at an event and you see some people, let's say driving 22 footers, 28 footers, and you're saying to yourself, you know, I can do that, but you've never been in a boat before. Forget being on a yacht or being on a mid-sized boat. You haven't even been on a dinghy before that has a small little, gas powered or even battery powered engine, even though it's an outboard. So the fact that you believe that you can suddenly steer a whole ship when you've never ever set foot in any kind of a boat. I'm not talking about being positive. I'm talking about being realistic. You at least have to have some kind of understanding. When you have that, then you're able to go from somewhere else. So if you say, hey, John, I was on my Boston Whaler, and yeah, I can easily drive a 24-footer. When the 18-footer was your Boston Whaler, and now you're going to move up to something a little bigger, might be a little hard, but you have the experience. You know how to navigate the bay and the sea, and you know what the difference is between the port side, the starboard side. You know how to read the buoys. You know how to read the channel markers in the water. Now, if I said to you, how do you navigate channel markers on the bay? So it's not hard, but if you've never done it before, well, it can be a problem. So there is something called the red right return, triangle red even number. Now, you might have noticed the different color channel marker out in the water. But did you know that they actually have a meaning? Yes, they have a meaning. And so it's called red right return. So these are the fun phrases. And so this is the most important phrase, and it means that whenever you're heading from sea to your home port, the red marker will be on your right side. Let me say that again. The most important phrase you're going to learn, it means that whenever you're heading from sea to your home port, the red marker will be on your right side. Okay? So on your way home, red right return. It's on your right side. That's really, really key. Okay? I mean, that's really key. Why do the markers have different colors, shapes, and numbers? Well, they all have different meanings, okay? Red markers are always even numbered and they're triangles. Green markers are always odd numbered and they are squares. So, again, the most important phrase you'll learn is red right return. So if you're coming home from sea, it'll be on the right-hand side. It's a red triangle, and that means you're on the right path to coming home. So it's true if there is a red and a green marker, or if there's only a red marker. Red and green stay between. Let me say that again. Red and green stay between. So you always keep your red to your right, okay, and your green to your left. Very, very important. So red and green stay in between. Red right return, red and green stay in between. All right. So, one thing to note is that local and private channels don't always follow these same rules. But if you're in waters controlled by the United States Coast Guard, this is how they're mostly set up. If you're clear, shallow water, a good pair of polarized sunglasses will go a long way toward helping you navigate safely. Of course, you should have a depth finder on your boat, and that'll keep you out of trouble. A true story, I was on our boat, actually it was our second or third boat with my dad, and we were down the shore, and we had gone out like we always go out, but this time when we went out, you know, the water seemed a little bit different, and we were navigating very close to the markers, and we figured we were fine, but all of a sudden, we hit a sandbar, and we went basically ashore in the middle of the bay. And I remember us having to call Sea Tow. We didn't have an account with them at the time. And we learned two things that day. One, we need to obviously make sure we have Sea Tow and we have a valid Sea Tow account so that if we get in trouble, we can call them. Second, we learned something really, really important, is that we need to get a depth finder because you can't play games when you're out in the middle of the ocean. That cost us several hours. It cost me not being able to go to church that day because I thought I would have been back in plenty of time by 4 o'clock. We left at like 10 in the morning, but we were stranded there for a while till we got help. There's another great phrase. It's called blue, blue, run on through. If you're in shallow water and you see blue, that means it's deeper water and you're usually good to go. Blue, blue, run on through. Okay? Blue, blue, run on through. Green, green, nice and clean. If you're in shallow water and you see green, that also means it's likely deeper water and you're usually good to go. So if you're in shallow water and you see green, that also means it's likely deeper water and you're usually good to go. Brown, brown, run aground. If you see brown, that means it's likely muddy bottom or there's grass or oyster bars, so the water will be shallow and you may run, like we did, aground and get clogged. So let's go through those again. So we first talked about red right return. We know what that means, right? We're going to keep the boat, our right side of the boat, okay, to red right return on the right side of the boat. We're going to keep that to the basically the red triangle, and then the left side of the boat, if it's on, we're going to keep that to just after the green mark. So red and green stay in between. Red right return when we're coming home from the sea. Red and green stay in between. Okay? Blue, blue, run on through. Means we're good to go. It's nice and deep. Green, green, nice and clean. So if you're in shallow water and you see it green, that means it's likely deeper water and you're usually good to go. Brown, brown, run aground. If you see brown, that means likely a muddy water and you're probably going to run yourself into some trouble sooner or later. So that is very, very important. So when we're talking about communication, and I use some nautical terms here and, you know, being on the water, but I think if we can appreciate some nomenclatures in the language, it'll really help us. So if you've never been in a boat before, if you've never had any experience on having to read markers, okay, then you don't suddenly want to do it unless you've had someone help you, because it's not something you want to learn and kill your whole afternoon. All right, I want to share another thing with you, ladies and gentlemen, and that is called Occam's razor. Have you ever heard of Occam's razor before? Sure you have. I'm sure you've heard it mentioned before. So Occam's razor is really cool. It comes from the 14th century theologian William Occam. And you might still be on the fence and saying, John, I still don't know what the heck Occam's razor is. Well, so Occam's razor is that one should not increase the number of facets or, let's say, points to elaborate something within reason. Keep to the straightforward, simple explanation. If we want to explain how, let's say, a motor works, let's not make it overcomplicated. Let's explain how magnets and how magnetic force causes a motor to become that motor. If we want to talk about positive and negative on a battery, let's talk about the positive. Let's talk about the negative. Let's not get into all the complexities of how the ions go back and forth. Let's just talk about the fact that energy flows. And by the way, it doesn't flow from positive to negative like we always thought. It actually flows from negative to positive, but most people don't want to say that because they still don't believe that's true. But actually, we found out that current flows from negative to positive. Hey guys, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, a pleasure, an honor to be with you guys this evening. I hope you'll like, love, support the channel. Definitely comment below. Tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. And of course, click on that link. Go to believemeachieve.com. Click on the link to help keep our content free and make the choice to buy my team and I a cup of coffee, a bowl of fruit, or a scrumptious bowl of yummy desserts. Either way, we're going to be grateful to those pennies and dollars that will invest in new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping motivational content to empower you to have an amazing life. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, what do? Yes, you know what I do. I help people tell a story that leads to them growing a more profitable and scalable business. And I think that is the key. And once we know how to do that, everyone suddenly wants to come around us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I hope you guys have an amazing evening. And know that communication is the key to the success in your life. And I'm going to catch you guys on another show real soon. So be well.